Hello and welcome to Speaking and Speech with Kiki. This is lesson 8. Hi! Alright, last class we talked about filler words, how to figure out what your filler words are, and how to try and change that because it is a habit and it is changeable. Completely up to you. If you're not doing professional presentations, that's fine. If you own your own company and you're giving a presentation and you have filler words, you don't care, that's fine. It's up to you. I personally think that if you're on a stage, it's very easy to use filler words when you should be using pauses. Pauses are just stop talking. Just let your mind think for a minute. They seem longer than they are, and they make you seem like you are preparing, but at the same time, filler words, they don't make you sound smart. They don't make you sound stupid, but they don't make you sound smart. They make you sound like you're thinking while you're going and you are not sure. And if you sound unsure, then you sound less confident than you maybe are, which is fine. I mean, you hear me using filler words, so and okay, all right, and you can see that it's not horrible, right? It's just part of the part of I purposefully stopped. I could have muttered my way through. I could have done something, but I purposefully stopped because I'm also practicing using less filler words now that we've talked about it. Okay. Even though you can hear the transition was not clean, that's okay. Better to stop and restart your whole sentence than to mutter better than that. All right? So you can see it happening right now in the video, and you can decide what you want to do. That's up to you. Today we're going to talk about rhetorical questions. Now, this is not an easy topic, and you may decide by the end that you do not want to use rhetorical questions because they sound so difficult. That's fine. Two things. One, you should know what they are. Two, I think you should not decide to use or not to use. I think you should learn how to use the tool, and then it's in your box, in your toolbox. You can later choose when to use it if you want to use it. It's better to have it than not to have it. Why? Because when you're giving a presentation to other professionals, even though they know that you are not a native speaker, you can't help but expect the same level of from a presentation than you would from a native speaker. Why is that? Because even non-natives, their intellectual level is the same as the native speakers, or higher. I don't know, but at least the same. So the expectations can't be lowered when it comes to using presentation tools. And that's why I don't want you to just say, this is too hard, I'm not going to do it. I want you to say, I'm going to practice it, and then if I want to use it, I can use it. It really depends what you want from your presentation. If you are talking to natives and you've given them already one presentation and it didn't go that great, then you should pull out, on the second presentation, you should pull out the rhetorical question. Okay? That's my point. Have it in the toolbox. All right. First, let's answer the question, what is a rhetorical question? A rhetorical question, like we mentioned before in the preview, not really a preview, was a question that no answer is actually expected. What? So when I am presenting and I say to my audience, My last example was when people say, "Hi, how are you?" And you say, "Oh, well, I'm not doing," and you keep talking and they're not listening, and you say, "They're so rude. They asked me how I was." Now, you may know when people, especially Americans, when Americans ask you, "How are you?" it's the same as their way of saying, "Good morning," basically. But for example, in Germany, you don't ask how are you unless you want to know how you are. And so when Americans ask Germans, how are you, and don't wait for the answer, Germans think Americans are very rude. This I know because I studied German and they told me. They said Americans are so rude. Why do they ask if they're not interested? Similar thing is true in Korea. Some people ask you how you are by saying, "Where are you going?" They say "어디 가세요?" or something like "Where are you going?" or "How did you go?" I think they say "어떻게 갔어요?" How did you go? And you start thinking like, how did you come here? Maybe I came by bus, but that's not what they're asking. They're actually just saying hi. That's one kind of rhetorical question that you may see on a day-to-day basis, but we're talking about rhetorical questions in presentations. So, what kind of question would you ask in a presentation that you're not expecting a real answer? Can you think of anything? Think about it. Have you ever heard a persuasive advertisement where they said, "Are you suffering from lack of sleep, bad digestion, and insomnia? Well, this is the medicine for you." It wasn't the way that the advertisement goes. It's not about a question and you're supposed to answer. You're just supposed to think yes, no, yes, or yes, 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 or yeah, no, yes. You're supposed to imagine the list of symptoms. You're supposed to check which ones you have and then say, "Oh, I've got to try this new product." That's an advertisement, but how do you use it in a speech? I don't know how many presentations you've seen. You may have seen many. You may have only seen presentations in your own language. I'm not sure. But I've certainly, in the movies, you'll see a presentation given, and it's very moving or very effective in the sense that they say, "Who here wants to fail?" Nobody, right? So we should A, B, and C because that's how you succeed. Think about it. It's actually really effective. Who here wants to fail? No hands are going to go up because nobody here wants to fail. Nobody watching this video wants to fail in their presentation. Nobody wants to fail, right? Same thing is true. You could say, "Who wants to succeed?" Everybody here wants to succeed. So we should do A, B, and C. Also effective, right? Everybody wants to succeed. So what's the reason for using the question form? Well, let's think about it.